Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Yasoda Nandana Vajjana Rangjana Yasoda Nandana Vajjana Rangjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parapujaka Acharya Asatura Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. And all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Before beginning, I just want to thank everyone here for coming. And it's always a great honor and privilege for me to share with everyone, both here and on the internet, the glorious, most memorable teachings that we have received from our glorious founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. It is yet a true privilege to speak these teachings. I'm not touching the mic. Are you talking to me? Oh, okay. Thank you. He didn't mention my name, so I don't know. So, as I said, in the middle of this glorification, sorry for the interruption. Yes, I thank all of you for being here. And I'm very grateful that Srila Prabhupada has given us these teachings, which I can be a small instrument in spreading and sharing with all of you. I pray, I'll beg you for your prayers so that I may say something useful and beneficial for everyone here and everyone everywhere, including myself, and we can all benefit that way. Under my own authority, I can say nothing of any value or of any use. But under the authority and under of Srila Prabhupada and under the blessings of all the Vaishnavas, something surely good will come. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 5th chapter, 2nd verse. I'll go right into the... I should mention that for those of you who stay to the end of the class, I'm offering a worldwide gift. Yes, worldwide gift. And it's available to anyone, everyone who loves the Bhagavatam and who wants to know more about the Bhagavatam and wants to develop the habit of hearing the Bhagavatam. So please stay if you wish to. The gift is still available even if you don't stay. Narada Uvacha. Sorry, my neck's a little stiff today, so forgive my monkey shines. Parasya Mahaba, Parasarya Mahabhaga, Parasarya Mahabhaga. No, not right. Parasarya Mahabhaga, Bhavata Kaschit Atmana, Parittu Syati Sharira, Atman Manasa Evava. Narada Uvacha. Parasharya Mahabhaga, Bhavata Kaschit Atmana, Parittu Shati Sharira, Atma Manasa Evava. Narada Uvacha. Parasharya Mahabhaga, Bhavata Kaschit Atmana, Parittu Shati Sharira, Atman Manasa Evava. Please chant. Ladies, please. Narada Uvacha. Mahabhaga. Bhavatha Kachidatmana. Anyone else? Any other male member? Macha. Mahabhaga. Bhagavata Kaschid Atmana. Paritu Shati Sharira. Atma Manasa Eva Va. Synonyms. Narada. Narada. Uvacha. Said. Parasharya. O son of Parashara. Mahabhaga. The greatly fortunate. Bhavataha. Your. Kaschit. If it is. Atmana. By the self-realization of. Paratushati. Does it satisfy? Shariraha. Identifying the body. Atma. Self. Manasaha. Excuse me, it's got a few papers here. Manasaha. Identifying the mind. Eva. Certainly. Va. And. Translation, purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation, addressing Vyasadeva, the son of Parashara, Narada inquired, are you satisfied by identifying with the body or the mind as objects of self-realization? Please repeat, addressing Vyasadeva, the son of Parashara, Narada inquired, are you satisfied by identifying with the body or the mind as objects of self-realization? Purport. This was a hint by Narada to Vyasadeva regarding the cause of his despondency. I think most of us are aware of the fact that Vyasadeva is experiencing despondency and has been for the last few weeks over the fact that he feels that his work is truly insufficient and inadequate and is not bringing him the satisfaction and the fulfillment that he had hoped. In other words, he feels somewhat empty, somewhat depressed, somewhat dejected, and somewhat indifferent. Not a very good situation. In other words, he's brooding. He's self-obsessing. Not something a great sage does. And so Narada Muni is commenting upon this self-obsessiveness. Prabhupada's purport. Vyasadeva, as the descendant of Parashara, a greatly powerful sage, for those who may not know, but Parashara Muni wrote one of the sub-Puranas. There are 18 Puranas and 18 sub-Puranas, and Parashara Muni is the author of one of them. He also is the author of a book on Dharma, very well known, and also a book on astrology. So he is what they call a heavy hitter amongst the sages. He's well known and he's well respected. So, Pardon? I don't know what he's saying. I'll take it from here. Being a great son of a great father, he should not have, Prabhupada is commenting here, Vyasadeva should not have identified the self with the body or the mind. Ordinary men with a poor fund of knowledge can identify the body as the self or the mind as self, but Vyasadeva should not have done so. Because he's a great sage, he has a great father. He knows what God realization is. He's already experienced it. But he's allowed this sense of inadequacy and insufficiency and despondency to take over his mind. And this is the commentary of Prabhupada. He said, why are you doing this? You know what God realization is. You know who you are. Just focus your attention within, on the super soul within, and just depend upon the super soul, and you will get all your guidance and all your answers and everything you need. Basically, that's what a great sage does. But he wasn't doing that. He was obsessing. He was dwelling on himself, his problem, which is very unlike a great, great sage like Vyasadeva. So we may ask, well, why? Well, we can give him a little berth. We can give him a little room. Remember, he's going through a certain amount of mental anguish, mental agony, and we should put ourselves to some extent in the position of any great sage, or even not great sage, in our own position. Sometimes everything is working very well, and we're very positive. We're very attuned and expressive of the philosophy, but something happens and it kind of knocks us off kilter, and we start thinking and acting not permanently, but temporarily in ways which we might not ordinary. And we begin to wonder later on, why did I say that? Why did I act that way? What was the reason for this? So this is an example with Vyasadeva. And of course, Narada Muni has come to pretty much wake him up out of this stage of self-obsessing and self-dwelling, self-concern, me, why am I this, why am I that? Of course, we might say it's not ordinary inquiry or introspection. That would be a good thing. But this is not that. He's simply grousing under the pressure of not feeling what he feels he should feel, namely blissful and peaceful, fulfilled and happy. So, but Vyasadeva should not have done so, Srila Prabhupada says. One cannot be cheerful by nature unless one is factually seated in self-realization, which is transcendental to the material body and mind. That's what I was just saying before, that he should have simply, as Srila Prabhupada says, just withdrawn the mind from any worry, any concern, any doubts, and just focus it upon the super soul and beg for the guidance and direction that you need in order to overcome this problem that you have. So Narada Muni, his guru, has come to wake him up out of this particular slough of despair and to bring forward the knowledge as to why he is suffering the way he is. So it's obvious from what has already been read that Vyasadeva has written many scriptures, including the Mahabharata, which is full of excitement and romance and surprises and suspense, but it misses the mark. And that's because it misses the mark because, as we will find out from Narada Muni in several pages forward, he has failed to describe the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, more vividly. He's not very vivid, very vague, very distant, very remote. There are different ways you can write a subject. You can bring the reader close to the subject matter or the person that you want to describe, or you can keep the reader at a distance. And the farther the reader is away, the less the reader knows about it, and the less the reader can have any real feeling about the subject or the character. So Narada Muni in effect said that you've not done very well. You've not brought your reader close to the Supreme Lord. You've kept him at a distance. Everything that is so delectable, so adorable, so lovable, so charming and enchanting about Krishna, you've left it out. It's missing. Why have you done this? This is almost like sinful when you leave out something so important like this, because that is the basis by which people link up to the Supreme Lord, and in that linkage, they begin to feel an attraction. It is that attraction that Narada Muni is mentioning, is that you need to put into your books, not just information, not just history, not just encyclopedia, but you need to put the unique qualities, the unique charm, the unique pastimes of the Supreme Lord. His playfulness, his frolicsomeness, his charm, all the things that make him so attractive. As we know, he is all attractive. He has 6 particular, different opulences, most beautiful, most wealthy, strong, powerful, influential, famous, renounced. So, but in this particular area, Narada is focusing and emphasizing, you've got to show some of the things that he has done when he was a little child, which has made him very attractive and very lovable and cherishable to everyone in the Vrindavan community. Even those persons from whom Krishna and Balaram, they're only 3 years old and they're stealing butter from the neighbors. And the neighbors are chastising, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Doesn't your parent feed you? You don't get any butter from them? So what does Krishna and Balaram says? This butter is terrible. We wouldn't even eat it. We won't even give it to the monkeys. This is how they answer this. And the neighbors, on the one hand, they're almost shocked, but they're also so delighted. They're so filled with pleasure at looking at those 2 delightful, adorable, wonderful children. In fact, they go to complain to Mother Yashoda that the children are always coming in and stealing butter, and even when they hide it, the children, they're finding it due to the jewels that they have, or some effulgence that they're manifesting. And they're asking Yashoda, please keep him tied up, keep him in check, so that they don't take our butter. So Yashoda says yes. And she asks Krishna, why are you doing this? And Krishna says, they're all a bunch of liars. Don't believe them. You'll find that in my book and the references given in my book. He says, don't listen to any of them. He says, we don't steal anything. So Krishna is so full of amazing little statements. He lies one moment, he tells the truth another moment. This is very, very colorful, very animated, and very absorbing. And when a devotee reads this, especially in our wonderful Krishna book, when he reads all about this, these occurrences, these pastimes, how can he not be attracted? How can he not become absorbed? I remember in the Brahmachari ashram, when I was the Bhakta leader, before we would take rest, usually I'd have about 12 persons in the Bhakta program, 10, 12. Before we would take rest, we would read for 1/2 hour the Krishna book. And the way we would read it is as follows, that, for example, I would start one paragraph, and then I would pass it on to another devotee, and then he would read one paragraph. And then the next devotee would read another paragraph. And everybody would be encouraged to read with enthusiasm, with eagerness. Nobody should try to put anybody to sleep now. Now is the time to get these impressions of the Supreme Lord's lovable and adorable and wonderful pastimes deeply impressed upon the mind, so that when we go to sleep, we can hopefully dream about these glorious, wonderful pastimes. So it would go from one devotee to another. There would also be hot milk being going on, sometimes the cookies at the same time. So it was a very, very wonderful occasion. And therefore, every devotee, even if they never got to read the Krishna book during the day, they would get to read it at night, and they would become slowly but surely immersed in this amazing story. Srila Prabhupada made sure, this is his ultimate mercy, he made sure to write the Krishna book, to complete it before he completed the Bhagavatam. And the reason for that is that he wanted us to have the complete life story of Krishna before he would leave this planet. He didn't want somebody else to take it up and in so doing possibly mislead, misguide, misdirect. So Srila Prabhupada is very, very cautious in his writing, especially in his introduction of the Rasa Leela. If you read that, he's like a cautious grandfather saying, don't think this, don't do that. Don't imagine you're one of the Gopas or anything like this. So it's very natural for us to, because Krishna does many of the things we do. You know, he runs after when we were kids, he runs after bird shadows. He jumps into frog ponds. They play hide and go seek. You know, they play blind man's bluff. And they play the bullfighting. So we all play these little games. So there's a natural tendency to say, well, you know, Krishna plays them and I play them. So I'm like Krishna. Be careful. In one sense, yes, we are. Krishna is very much like us, and we're very much like him. He's playful, he's frolicsome, he's full of verve and full of pleasure giving. But on the other hand, although he looks and acts like all of us, he's anything but us. He's infinitely more powerful, but he's hiding his power. He's just showing himself to be just a little, sometimes even helpless, uneducated child who needs help of his friends and who loses battles to his friends. So Krishna is very, very interesting in that regard. So we tend to identify and we start to think of Krishna as just another, when we're reading, he's just another one of the boys. He's not one of the boys. It's a sin to even think that the spiritual master or the Supreme Lord is just an ordinary human being. And as soon as we do that, we fall into a very heavy offense. And we don't read the book with the proper respect and the proper honor and the proper glorification. And when it is read with the proper respect and glorification and honor, then we receive from the Lord his blessings in the form of transcendental bliss, which, coming back to this, Vyasadeva was missing. He was not getting the transcendental bliss because he was not writing about these marvelous pastimes that I just was citing. He was not giving details. He was not describing them vividly. It was like a camera from a distance, like a long shot. Well, you can't tell too much from a long shot. But when the camera begins to zoom in and you get closer and you see the color of the person's eyes, you see the eyebrows jumping, you see the way the person holds his head, you see him licking his lips, you see things that you normally would not. So you get to know the person in a closer, nearer, dearer way. And that's what Narada Muni is advising. You need to let your reader get closer to Krishna. And by letting your reader get closer to Krishna, they will develop a greater and quicker attraction to Krishna. And that attraction will slowly grow into an absorption, something they will not want to be without. I remember when we would have every night, we would sit down, to do the Krishna book reading. Everybody was looking forward to it because it was such a delightful moment. And many devotees going back 40 years ago remember those days. And in so doing, the devotees remembering it, many are still reading it or listening to my narrations of the Krishna book. So that was a great blessing, mercy that Krishna gave us, that Srila Prabhupada gave us, and we should take full advantage of it because it is complete and it contains many of Srila Prabhupada's wonderful feelings and ideas. So there, I've already given the basic cause of the problem of Vyasadeva. The same answer you will get on page 266, 1521. Please describe the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, more vividly. Close up. Show everyone what God is. There is no literature, there is no religion where God is shown, described, as we have in the Bhagavatam. Who can, in fact, many scholars, they can't believe that this person is running around chasing after bird shadows is the Supreme Lord of the universe, holding it up, sustaining it, maintaining it, withdrawing it, creating planets at will, destroying them at will. That little boy chasing bird shadows is doing all that. Who can believe that? Who can imagine that? It's inconceivable. So that's why the scholars have a big trouble, a big time. The simple devotees who are simply want to be those who glorify the Lord, honor the Lord, chant the Lord's name, go out and share the Lord with as many persons as they can. This sharing process is really what Krishna is about. That's why we're all together. He's sharing himself with all of us. He's giving a little of himself through me, and I will get some of his self through all of you as we get it through Srila Prabhupada, especially on Sunday. So this is the sharing process. And it's a very wonderful process because it allows others who are suffering, who are miserable, full of sorrow, full of confusion, full of no knowledge. And the result of their ignorance is that this world is going to hell. Now I see in the news, internet news, so many of these so-called leaders in the movie industry, in the political scene, in the sports industry. Many of the leaders have finally been accused and shown themselves to be child abusers. Yes, taking undue advantage of 14, 13, 12, 14, 15, 16-year-old girls who gave their full trust. One doctor, thousands of these, he was an Olympic doctor, abusing sexually, collecting pictures. They just found his hard drive and they gave him 60 years for child pornography. 60 years. They haven't even begun on the assaults and on the abuses. These Olympic girls. Just giving an example. In the motion picture industry, hundreds of women are coming forward because all of this was hidden under the rug, so to speak. And all they're asking for is basically to be treated nicely and not to be bumped into, intentionally groped, and talked to in a dirty fashion as if they were just a piece of meat. So this is all coming to the surface. These are our so-called leaders. They don't know what real happiness, real pleasure, real joy is. They only know sexual orgasm. That's as far as their mind goes. And they're always looking here and there like a dog sniffing from one tree to the next. So that's why it's important to get these books out, and it's important for all of us here to experience this higher taste, this higher pleasure, this higher joy, which should emanate from us when we speak. Devotee who is feeling the joy of Krishna consciousness, when he speaks with a smile, Like when Ananta Kirtan was giving his talk, he was speaking with a smile, and I was catching it, the contagion of the emotion, and enjoying every moment of it. Don't look so severe. Don't identify yourself with it. It was all coming from Krishna, okay? So you don't have to worry. So anyway, the important thing is that, yes, the devotee speaks with a smile because he feels the joy flowing up from his heart, coming from Krishna. His eyes glow with the joyfulness and satisfaction and fulfillment that Vyasadeva was not getting, and we can get by studying carefully this Krishna book or 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. So I want to read something from Srila Prabhupada, which is so important, which if we take to heart, we can all benefit immensely. I read it many years ago, I still read it. Chapter 7, Krishna book. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, is always full with 6 opulences, namely complete wealth, strength, fame, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation. The Lord appears in different complete eternal forms of incarnation. The conditioned soul has immense opportunity to hear about the transcendental activities of the Lord in these different incarnations. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Janma karma chame divyam, or one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains to my eternal abode. The pastimes and activities of the Lord are not material. They are beyond the material conception. That's why I was saying when we would talk, I was talking about the Krishna and his friends. They're doing what we do, but they're not material. They are totally and fully, absolutely transcendental. They are beyond the material conception, and the conditioned soul can benefit by hearing such uncommon activities. Hearing is an opportunity to associate with the Lord. To hear his activities is to evolve one's transcendental nature. So the more you hear it, the more the filth which has encrusted itself over the mind, the intelligence, is gradually washed away with the soap of this transcendental subject matter. To hear his activities is to evolve one's transcendental nature. Simply by hearing, the conditioned soul has a natural aptitude to hear something about other conditioned souls in the form of fiction, drama, and novel. No need to go to the corner motion picture or cinema. Just get into the Krishna book and read it with verve, with enthusiasm, with eagerness, as if it's the greatest gift that has ever come to you. If you read it that way, you feel what Vyasadeva unfortunately was not feeling, but which he will feel once Narada reveals his situation. And it's the same thing I'm speaking right now. That inclination to hear something about others may be utilized in hearing the pastimes of the Lord. Then one can immediately evolve his transcendental nature. Evolve it means purify it, cleanse it, clean it, so that the pure self shines through. Bas, confirmed. Then one can immediately evolve to this transcendental nature. If someone takes advantage of hearing the pastimes of the Lord, the material contamination of dust accumulated in the heart due to long association with material nature can immediately be cleansed. Lord Chaitanya also instructed that simply by hearing the transcendental name of Lord Krishna, one can cleanse the heart of all material contamination. There are different processes for self-realization, but this process of devotional service, of which hearing, emphasis, hearing is the most important function. It's more important than reading. Reading, the impression of type, is not very powerful on the mind. But the impression of sound, just as we're hearing now, is very impactful. And you can easily remember it. That's how we're all speaking, because we heard sound. We listened to the sound, and then we repeated it, and then we slowly but surely learned to speak. In the same manner, hearing is the most important. When adopted by any conditioned soul, will automatically cleanse him of the material contamination and enable him to realize his real constitutional position, which is to be what? Yeah, loving servant of Krishna. Conditional life is due to this contamination only. And as soon as it is cleared off, then naturally the dormant function of the living entity rendering service to the Lord, that's most important. Hearing about the Lord, chanting about the Lord, remembering Krishna, serving his lotus feet, offering prayers to the Lord, worship to the Lord, offering practical service to the Lord, giving up one's body, one's mind, one's intelligence, and one's words to the Lord. All this is done as self-surrender to the Lord. One will do it automatically. One will do it lovingly. One will do it compulsively, because he or she knows it is the most important, the only thing which can change our lives from miserable and useless to blissful and useful. By developing his eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord, one becomes eligible to create friendship with the devotees. We're talking about the lofty, the big shot devotees, like Narada Muni. By developing his eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord, one becomes eligible to create friendship with the devotees. Maharaj Pariksit recommended from practical experience that everyone try to hear about the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. This Krishna treatise is meant for that purpose, and the reader may take advantage of it to attain the ultimate goal of human life. So here's my gift to you here, you on the internet, and the whole world. As you know, I have recorded the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. And many devotees have not had access to my recordings. They are done with different vocal or voice characterizations. They are done with musical backgrounds, and also done with interesting, realistic sound effects. So devotees who have not had a chance to hear, who are, busy doing different services. So while you're doing services, you could hear the Srimad Bhagavatam, my narration. So my offer to anyone and everyone is as follows. For those of you who want it, I can download it into your computer now through OneDrive. And you can have the full download, all 90 chapters. I'm not cutting you short. You're getting the whole ball of wax, as they say. You get it all. And every day you can listen to a different pastime. They play it regularly on Mayapur.tv. They also play it on Prabhupada Vani. So they play these go all around the world. There are different radio stations which are playing them. So all of you can have your own personal. And from your computer, or even directly, if you ever want a very good smartphone, my download can go directly into your smartphone as well. Some of you already have received that. And isn't that wonderful that you can walk around? I used to see Sri Satchidananda. He would always have his earphones on 10 years ago, 12 years ago. He'd always be listening to Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Srimad Bhagavatam. Always his ears was filled with Krishna Katha. And this is so important. And the more you do that, the more we become addicted to it. And that's what we want, to be addicted to Krishna Katha. So that when we wake up in the morning, our first thought and desire is, where's Krishna? Where's Krishna? And you see the Krishna book. Or you turn on your smartphone and you start hearing the pastime of this 10th canto, any one of the 90 chapters. So all you have to do to get it, there's no charge, no payment, no installment fees. It's a freebie for the whole world listening. And all you have to do is to send me your email address, and I'll send it through email. And if you have a computer that is updated, you should have no problem receiving it. If there are any technical problems, don't come to me. We've got plenty of technicians in this temple who can confront your problems. We have our Shyam Mukunda, works for the Bank of America. And if he can solve their problems, he can solve your little problem. Bank of America, that's a big time. They're worldwide. Or we have also our Madhu Kiran, another great computer. And we have others. So please don't hesitate. Again, just send me, you can email me your email address. My email address is amalbhakta@hotmail.com. That's AMALBHAKTA@hotmail.com. Don't make the mistake of writing Amala. Write Amal-bhakta@hotmail.com. Send me your email address, and I'll send you by return transcendental post the Bhagavatam, and you'll find it in your email. It will say, view this, click this, and you click it, and you will start from the introduction of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you all very, very much. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to share this with everyone here, and I hope all of you will take this offer. It is my Christmas or Krishna gift to the entire world. Those of you who are listening in Timbuktu or Russia or Lower Slobovia or wherever, please take advantage of this. Nobody will be left out, but if you anyone who wants to send a donation can do that. If you do, please send it as a friendly gift and not as a payment. Otherwise, I'll be sacked with charges. Okay? So thanks so much. Hare Krishna.